Hello and welcome to WISE. I'm Rosie Acosta. WISE stands for Women Inspiring Success and Empowerment. This is a 10-part podcast series featuring interviews with successful, inspirational women in business, art, entertainment, and more. Aristotle said, "Happiness is a state of activity." Oscar winner Shirley MacLaine said, "To be happy, you have to be willing to be compliant with not knowing." And Eleanor Roosevelt said the three most important requirements for happiness were a feeling that you've been honest with yourself and those around you, a feeling that you've done the best that you could both in your personal life and in your work, and the ability to love others. But what exactly is happiness? What does it mean to be happy? And why is it so hard for so many of us? So many of us feel stifled, limited to how we can express ourselves authentically. And there's no way any of us can be contented with someone else's definition of happiness. Our guest this week, Tal Rabinowitz, to quote Booth Moore from The Hollywood Reporter, she is a former executive VP comedy development at NBC who started a new career as the founder of the Den Meditation Studio in Los Angeles, which offers virtual classes. To quote Booth Moore, as a Hollywood executive, Tal Rabinowitz worked on The Mindy Project and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. After she was let go, she let go, and now helps others do the same with Den Meditation. We had the honor of speaking with Tal about her career in television, her new career in meditation, and how authenticity and self-expression can lead to happiness. Here's my conversation with Tal.
Obviously, I've interviewed you for Radically Loved Radio before. I teach at your studios. I'm a big fan of you and what you're doing in the world. And
you. It's true.
I'm like, let me glorify you for a second.
Okay, go ahead.
So when I thought about this podcast, like I really wanted to get people from all different backgrounds, like women in particular, of course. And I just started to make a list of people who I really admired and who I really looked up to, or who I just felt were really the embodiment of inspiring, success and empowerment.
I love this. Can we do this every week?
So yeah. And these are like questions that I didn't necessarily get to ask you before, and I feel like this is the best platform to ask you about, things that you've gone through in your life or lessons that you've learned, because at the end of the day, I really feel like as women, we're all kind of learning the same things at different capacities. And so one of the first things I want to ask you is, with regard to wisdom and how we acquire wisdom, like what do you think about, or who do you think about when you hear the word wise?
When I hear the word wise, I think of a couple people automatically. My grandfather, who I used to spend my summers with a lot in Israel, who was just one of the kindest and most wise men, really helped, I'm sure people have opinions about it, but like fight for that country.
Yeah.
But he was that guy that anyone would go to. They could be younger and they'd come to him with like love problems. You know what I mean? And he was just always very practical, cut to the chase, but just was so wise. I mean, he would translate poetry into 8 different languages. He'd have books of medicine because he was really a frustrated doctor because that just wasn't available to him.
Right.
He wrote his own poetry in like 7 different languages. He was just not only brilliant with the mind, he just was also brilliant with the heart. And I remember I used to sneak down, because it'd be Israel, so it'd be jet lag, and I remember I'd be really little. And so when we'd first get there and the jet lag would kick in, I would sneak down at 4 a.m. and he'd already be in his office, working at his computer, and I would just sit. I'd pick a book from the library and I would just sit with him, and I would love it. And then it makes sense. The next person for me is my mom, which is his daughter. Different. My mom was just a really strong woman, especially during a time when, she was breaking barriers. And I think for me, the fact that she was always so strong and never faltered in what she felt was right or what she needed to do. She was never one for public opinion. Not that she didn't care, but she was just not that person. It was her, and she was doing everything her own way. And that I'm forever grateful for, because she really taught me how to be a strong woman.
I love that.
Yeah, I was really lucky that way.
That's really great, and to have that sort of that reverence for who she was and what she did. I think that speaks volumes to who inspired you in your journey.
For sure. I mean, I've said it to my mom a couple times. I mean, there's been a few times I remember in my journey. My mom is a doctor. She's 70. How old are you, Mom? Like, I'm so bad with the ages now. It's funny.